Hello everyone, welcome back to another list review for Hops and Drops TV. We have Sylvaneth versus Fyreslayers game coming up for you soon. And yeah, this is a list review, so I'm going to go through some choices that I've made in my list and the army that I'm going to be playing in that battle report. My name's Tom, and I'm the one that's going to be bringing the Sylvaneth, as you may see in front of me here. So, I'll start off by talking a bit about the faction, Sylvaneth in general. I am playing an army with the sub-faction of the Burgeoning, I believe it's called. And what that means is that effectively at the end of every player's turn, I get D6 rally points. It doesn't quite work the same as rally, but that's how I've been explaining it to my opponents. Ultimately, you can heal or you can return models equal to the wound characteristic of the D6 roll. So that means that if you spike that 5+, you can bring back a Kurnoth Hunter or a Revenant Seeker, and that right now is pretty much the only way to bring them back. And I miss the days of old where you could bring back maybe 3 Kurnoth in a turn. I'm sure my opponents don't, but I do. I'll start off with my regiments. I have a general here, it's the Warsong Revenant. The Warsong has the Warsinger heroic trait, which gives me a extra 2-inch move on one of my units in my movement phase. Also has the Seed of Rebirth, so I'm spending the 20 points for that. And I'll go a bit more into detail on why I've made that choice soon. My other 2 heroes in the list, to complete my 3 drops, are 2 Branchwiches. If you've seen this channel before, you know how much I love Branchwiches. They can swing games without even needing to roll dice, because your opponent is so scared of going into your units, especially Scythes, for example, when you've got a potential strike first on a 3+. So it's just playing the mind game, but then when you do nail that 3+, it's really strong. So within these regiments, I have a unit of Siege of Ghyran Revenant Seekers. I think they're fantastic. I've been looking at the math on their damage. When they charge, they're doing more damage than swords, Kurnoths. When they stand still and get charged, they're honestly not doing far off the same damage as Scythe Kurnoths. They're a little bit more expensive, but they also potentially have a 5-up ward. But that 5-up ward is a little bit swingy because it's on a 3+, so it's a bit hit and miss. But basically, that boils down to having effectively a Kurnoth Hunter unit with a 12-inch move, and that is really very powerful for an extra 60 points. So I'm loving playing them. I think they're really, really good. In addition to that, I have 2 units of 3 Kurnoths with bows. I've decided to split that up instead of having a unit of 6 now, primarily because of the change to all-out defense. Now an opponent can only use all-out defense on 1 unit, and it only lasts for 1 attack sequence. So the bows can shoot into a unit, all-out defense, the next unit of bows can shoot, and they don't get the all-out defense benefit. I have a unit of Gossamid Archers for scoring one of my battle tactics, which is Scouting Force. I have a unit of Spite-Revenants because I had 80 points over, and they're a great just backline objective holder, or potentially can teleport for an additional scouting unit. I have a unit of Tree-Revenants, and they are also scouting unit. That's my 3 main scoring units. And then lastly, I have a unit of Kurnoth with Scythes, and they are my kind of backline, stand there, 3+ fight first, nuke anything that goes into combat with them unit. So some thoughts that went into this list. I've been playing a little bit of the new GHB, and I've been trying to tailor my list against and for the battle tactics. So to start with my battle tactics, I'm taking Master of the Paths and I'm taking Scouting Force. Sylvaneth are very good at scoring Scouting Force. Master of the Paths, they're not particularly good at scoring. However, I have Kurnoths with bows, and because they ignore Guarded Hero, it means that all of my opponent's infantry units need to hug Obscuring for them to not be shot, and that's just a win for me, because it means that they're not pushing up the board. In addition to that, I have the Glade Worm, because I'm bringing the Sylvaneth spell lore, and the Glade Worm against wizards can teleport 3 inches away, so that's another threat then on heroes. In this game, I'm not playing the artifact, but I have been playing the new Siege of Ghyran Unbind artifact in most of my games previously. Doesn't make sense into Fyreslayers, so I didn't choose it for this game. But that is another way to kill heroes. It makes your opponent scared to cast with their little heroes, because you might be able to just pick them up off the table with the mortal wounds that you can do with that artifact. So I have plenty of ways to kill heroes, But the main reason I'm picking that battle tactic is to stop my opponent's heroes from coming into me. I want my opponent to think twice about sending in their Mega Gargant or their Magmadroth or Glutos, or these big Archeon, another great example, like big heroes that are a big part of people's armies that they have to send in. I'm only getting benefit if they send them in and I kill it. So I want them to be a bit reluctant with that, and that's why I'm playing the anti-hero one. Finally, to tech against the battle tactics that are available to my opponents, it's mainly, I've been thinking about if someone takes Master of the Paths against me, how do I protect it? So I've got the 2 Branch Witches, they're never going to be shot off the table during a game, and they're going to be right at the back of the board or teleporting away so that they can't be killed as heroes. And then I have the Warsong Revenant, who in this game has the Resurrection, but normally it's not really that scary that the Warsong dies because of Guarded Hero, not going to be shot, and can also just run away or fly away and not be killed. And those 3 units then are also the 3 units that I will pick if someone has the treasure battle tactic. So if they're trying to kill 3 of my units, I'm just going to pick my 3 heroes. And if they want to push into me to try and kill them, then I'm going to punish them for that. So that's my thought process around list building. And ironically, the last couple of games I've been playing, people have taken both of those battle tactics, kill a hero and treasures, and they've scored 0 BTs against me during those games. So it's working well. It's impossible to say how this will do in a tournament. It's too early in the edition, so we're going to skip that section for now. But I think that's it on this list. If you have any questions, please comment on the video. Happy to answer them. We'll check in on them. And if you have any areas where you think I could have improved this list, that would also be great to know. So yeah, I'll send it over to Karl to talk about Fyreslayers.
Hello everyone, my name is Karl, and like Tom just mentioned, I am gonna play some Fyreslayers. This is my first time playing Fyreslayers, so bear with me. But I have put together, well, I had a friend of mine that is an incredibly good Fyreslayer player. He put together, or helped put together a list with me from the models that we had available. And I think we came up with something really nice. It seems solid, at least on paper. I am playing the Scales of Vulcatrix, I think the battle formation is called, that gives my 2 Magmadroths plus 2 health characteristics, which is super nice. 16 health each. You could maybe throw in another one in there if you want to, but I think 2 is enough. And it's a 2 regiment army. It has the Rune Father, and then he has basically all the Hearthguard Berserkers in there, and a 20 block of Vulkite's Sling Shields. The idea there is, well, first I wanted two separate, I think most of the times, at least what I've seen in people's list, they tend to go towards pole axes, because I don't know, damage 2 and a bit more solid, and they get extra attacks if there's damaged hero around them, so they can get really dangerous. But I wanted pole axes. I think that they are really nice. Essentially, if you go, they're in the list for countering, I guess, in a sense, really heavy armored lists. So if you go against Slaves of Darkness or Stormcast, something like that, that have all walking around with 3+ save, I think crit mortals is super nice. Yes, you do have a crit mortal rune, but they can always have crit mortals, so they're really nice to try and melt some Varan guards, for example, or they will have more damage to Varan guards than the broad axes for sure. But they have 2 units of Hearth guards. They have 2 small heroes with them to basically walk around and give them 5+ ward, and then a 20 blocks of Sling Shield. Could be argued that I could split them up into 2 10s, but the 20 block seems nice. There's a lot of wound to push through, and can screen off really nicely. They can kind of, block the rest of my army. So if someone commits, they have to commit into that, and potentially even have to commit into the 10-man unit of Twin Axes Volkites first. So just a really nice screen, and then doing some mortals if they die on the swing back. The last thing I have in my general's regiment is the Runeson, the new one, Ghyran, Runeson. He has Ashbeard and thickened scales and Drothhelm, so he counts as a priest. He's -1 against -1 rend against him. And the last one that I have in my regiment is the Runeson, the new Ghyran Runeson. He has Ashbeard, so he's a priest. He has thickened scales for -1 to rend against him, and he also had Drothhelm to give +1 to hit for companion attacks wholly within 12 of him. So him and the Rune's father really benefits from each other. They should probably go together. And most of the time to kind of buff each other, you want the Rune's father in combat or taking damage or be dead for the Runeson to really power up. And he can do a lot of damage, like a lot of damage. It's a crazy potential. So if you're going against armies that don't really have much shooting to threaten him off the board, he can really knock some stuff out of the board for sure. And then my last regiment, like I said, I have two. I have my two small foot heroes, which is a Rune Master and a Rune Smiter. And then he has a 10-man unit of Volkite Twin Blades or Twin Axes, and a unit of 5 Magma Pikes. They're in there essentially to give a little bit of shooting. 5 of them can actually do decent amount of shooting. It's D3 damage. D3 damage is always D3 damage. You can spike and lower some ranges. Unfortunately, that's not as effective when they don't have the deep strike thing, deep strike hero, but they're still good for sure. In my opinion, they're worth having. It's nice with that extra bit of shooting. The battle taxes that I've chosen is Intercept and Recover, and also Wrathful Cycles. Wrathful Cycles I played again because I think that that's a really nice battle tactic card. At least I feel so, but maybe that's just the way my games have gone. I think that just holding more than your opponent is very easy, and then underdog you will essentially be sometime in the game, I feel like, because how battle tactic works, you don't always score, and your opponent might score 2 of them. So I feel like I personally feel like it's good. And then the last one, the quarters one, is also possible for sure. It might be a bit trickier depending on how the game goes, but it's definitely possible. So yeah, I'm gonna keep playing that for a while, I think, and see how it works out. And then the Intercept and Recover, the treasure one, I just wanted to try it out because I can see it in most lists, people use it, and I personally am not a fan of it. I think it's way too easy to deny for people, like if building lists around denying that one and anything else that you need to pick units, you just choose them and put them those units in the back. But I wanted to give it a try and see how I feel about it, and yeah, it will be interesting. I'm not a huge fan of it, but could work potentially, hopefully. Sylvaneth do have small heroes though that they can probably put the treasures on, and I'm not likely getting to those ones unless I really wipe Tom off the table, which I am not sure I will. But yeah, that's my list. I hope you enjoy the upcoming game. We're for sure excited to show you, and I'm very excited to play Fyreslayers. It is my first time. I always wanted to try them. So if you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to us. Other than that, take care for now. See you later.